probably would have been the more direct call.
Just trick myself by saving Karen's number as Art.
That's a very savvy move. Art's, I would suggest I'm just gonna, when the clock hits, I'll, hey, are you coming to the special meeting? Oh, I'm so sorry. We're sitting in chambers as we speak. The 4 o'clock start time. Okay, cool. I tried calling and texting you today. I'm sorry, I had something else going on. No worries. We'll see you soon. Bye. Can we get a light screen where AB live? Good. It is now 4 o'clock, which is our scheduled special meeting start time. For members of public that are tuning in or for individuals in the room, we are going to wait arrival of at least one more voting member so that we have a quorum for today's meeting. So please stay tuned and patient as we await one more voting member to kick off today's meeting.
What's up, Amy? Yeah. Is the rest of the weekend or?
Celebratory rest.
Did Eric get new Xbox?
No, I have to head out at 4:45 to pick up his gift.
Lost track.
Yes.
Council, can we get our light screen? Now that we're sitting with a quorum, I'd like to call the meeting into order, and we'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
To our council members and our department heads and to members of public, welcome to our special meeting of the City Council, scheduled in public notice for 4 p.m. today, June 13th. We're very excited. Before I get to the meeting content, I will have Clerk Tomasic please call roll.
Schumate,
Here.
Cox, McNabb,
Here.
Molnar,
Here.
Valentine, Walden,
Here.
Wood. We do have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Clerk Tomasic, would you like any motion to excuse absent members, or are we sufficient for?
I would do the motion to excuse.
Great. So council, our first action order would be a motion to excuse absent council members.
Motion to excuse Mr. Cox and Mr. Valentine. Dorothy Wood.
I second that motion.
We have a motion to excuse the 3 council members and a second by Councilman Molnar. Any discussion on that matter? Clerk Tomasic, please call roll.
McNabb,
Yes.
Molnar,
Yes.
Schumate,
Yes.
Walden.
Yes.
Motion carried. With that, we have a quorum for today's discussion, and so we'd like to open up to our first item, which is public comment. Are there any members of public that wish to address council this evening? We are not seeing any public comment. Keep in mind, we'll have another public comment before we adjourn. So council, that will bring us to the core of today's special meeting agenda. I'm excited because we have 2 items today to cover. City administrator position structure is item number 1, and then item number 2 is a letter of understanding for employee health insurance. I will open up with some comments, and I'd like council's direction on next steps for city administrator position structure. I know I alluded to this in our prior council meetings. In council, we've had some great discussions, both online and offline, in regards to our candidates. To all the candidates that have applied, thank you. We've been in touch with each of the candidates that have applied to make sure they are aware of the process we are going through. But one of the things that council and I had discussed was the position structure. As everybody's well aware in this chambers and those that are tuning in online, our ordinance language for the city administrator position is a breadth and depth of responsibility. And so one thing that council has been working on is how do we set up the future of that position for success? And council, I'm coming to you as reflected in your packet information with a proposal. The proposal is to unlock a new part-time position This part-time position would be a project manager with responsibilities related to DPW and engineering and associated project management. The time commitment for this part-time position would be up to 25 hours per week, but we can imagine that could be a range, meaning it might vary from 16 to 25, and we'd hope they would average out in that about 20-hour per week mark. Our Finance Director, McEwen, was consulted deeply, and obviously there's a lot of things we need to consider, right? So from a budgetary perspective, any position, part-time or full-time, induces perpetual fund requirements, obviously, when it comes to our budget. So that's an important consideration. We obviously want to also make sure we're considering our funds with the capital improvement requirements and all the other strategic projects that we have in flight. But in short, our Finance Director, McEwen, has recommended that we will have the financial capacity to unlock this part-time position in that 16 to 25-hour range, again, up to 25 hours per week. The compensation would be in the range of $25 to $30, depending on the expertise and experience of the individual that we would hire for this position. And so let's talk about the structure of the position and why this relates to the opening comments. The structure of this position would entail them reporting to the city administrator, and ultimately they would be responsible to council's direction. The individual's pillar responsibilities would be pillar 1, ensuring a clear work schedule for our DPW team. You can imagine this individual would be meeting regularly throughout the week with DPW team members, reviewing the work schedule for the week and the upcoming weeks, and making sure that there's a clear strategy and accountability on equipment, material, and personnel requirements to accomplish that work schedule. You can imagine the strategic value would be this individual would be working hand in hand to make sure we have the right calendarization of activities, the right prioritization of where we're spending our time, and that we're getting ahead of purchasing requirements and personnel requirements to meet those objectives. So that's kind of pillar 1 scope. You can imagine that as we brainstorm together, that would probably entail anywhere from 2 or more hours per day, but that would be on an average basis. So let's think about that as maybe a 10-hour per week commitment with flexibility up and down. The second pillar of this individual's part-time role would be related to the project management and engineering interface. So picture this individual as a quarterback that would be responsible for the strategic projects, most of which are concentrated in our infrastructure lane. They would be working to be a point person for professional services like engineering, the vendors that we have associated with the work that we're doing, and would obviously then be a conduit to exchange communication and requests and issues with Infrastructure Advisory Committee and ultimately council, who's providing direction. So in summary, those two kind of pillar areas of the role would enable them to have up to 25 hours per week to accomplish those. Obviously, council could assess as we progress and have fluidity to what we need to set them up for success. But those would be the kind of scope of the role. As far as criteria, what would make an individual successful? We'd obviously want somebody that would have familiarity with DPW operations and infrastructure projects, specifically roads, utilities, bridges, daily maintenance and operation, facility management, water systems, including meters and sewage, DPW crew or oversight on work schedule. In addition, obviously, and related, we'd want that to tie to some of our projects we've discussed and needs, like, for example, our fleet and equipment management, how recreational facilities are maintained and overseen, day-to-day activities beyond what I had previously mentioned. And the key stakeholders for this individual, again, they would report to the city administrator, but they'd be responsible ultimately to council, and a lot of their work would relate to the DPW interface, pillar 1, as well as the professional services, vendors, Infrastructure Advisory Committee, department heads, and council, primarily related to number 2. I'm really excited about this part-time opportunity. I think it solves the objective of setting a future city administrator position up for success, while also in the immediate term addressing some of the areas we know we need to improve upon from an efficiency and effectiveness perspective related to day-to-day operational oversight when it comes to DPW. So, council, the punchline of this conversation is that this is the structure we're proposing. We have the financial means to accommodate it. I want to respect the individual, but I had a chance to speak with him personally. One logical name that comes to mind is John Sant. John Sant has done tremendous work, and I think all of our opinions in regards to leaning in to support so many of these areas we just mentioned. John is interested in the role, if council were to choose to go down that path. We can obviously consult our city attorney related to equal opportunity hiring practices and any sort of posting or other application considerations, but I think we have a known Gibraltar based individual with strong expertise and experience, who's already well integrated into the operation, with trust and confidence from council, and at least speaking for myself, that could seamlessly step into this role and unlock this. Now, this would be our step one, part-time John Sant as an example. It doesn't mean that we couldn't evolve our understanding over time as we see how this works, where we need to improve upon it, and then what that long-term pathway could look like. So, council, that's the thought process for you today. I'll stop talking and just see if you have any reaction, questions, comments.
First housekeeping, I just wanted to make a motion to seat Councilwoman Wood.
Thank you, Councilman Molnar. Is there a second for that?
Second.
And Katie, whenever you're ready, we'll have you call roll.
McNabb,
Yes.
Mulnar.
Yes.
Schumate,
Yes,
Walden.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
welcome. Thank you.
Oh, no, thank you. Can I just ask real quick, since I missed the very beginning of it?
Yeah.
So John Sant is going to be,
We would be looking to hire for a part-time project manager focused on DPW and engineering.
okay,
It'll be up to 25 hours. Finance Director McEwen has endorsed it financially. The goal would be they would work for the city administrator, but obviously under our direction. And they'd have two pillar roles. One would be DPW work schedule oversight and associated personnel, purchasing, and equipment and material alignment. And then part two of the role would be project management related to being a quarterback for our infrastructure projects, working with our professional services, engineers, vendors, and informing council and infrastructure advisory committee every step of the way.
and then we're still interviewing.
Yep, so we'll progress our interviews. The important step we talked about was really setting this future city administrator position up for success. This would be a method to take some of that responsibility and put it in a part-time position hands so that the city administrator position would be more equipped for success and not diluted as they enter their pathway.
And I hear that he's interested.
John is interested and gave me the okay to mention his name in context of the conversation. City attorney can advise on anything we need to do for hiring practices, but yes, we have a known individual that has done great things for us in this lane that would be interested in this position, and I think we should seriously consider that immediately. Councilman Molnar.
Yeah, I've got a lot of comments to concur in the opinions here. And I think I'd like to just make a motion to create this position that's in line with our charter, and that's what I'll do here. And then if we have a second, I can go into the discussion associated with that, if that works for everybody.
Awesome. This is the language I had. If you want to use that, it's up at the top there. In the parentheses, the project manager, comma, DPW and engineering.
It will, in my, I guess,
Flexible on that.
do you have any opposition to the motion being a DPW director and part-time project manager / engineer?
I don't have any issue with that because I think it aligns with kind of what we're trying to describe, as long as it meets like city attorney and union contract considerations.
I think that really, and that's the only reason why I say
Yeah.
that, because I think that flows in the charter.
I like
It's
that.
a chartered position, the DPW director.
That was the direction we were heading. That's what we wanted.
I like that, and it encompasses the totality of the role.
Yeah.
Finance Director McEwen, do you have any issue with that? Great, I like that.
So my motion is to open the position, or create, well, the position's already created, so reinstate the position of DPW director, adding to the title also part-time project manager / engineer.
Love it.
That enough clarity, Katie? or-
Yep.
Okay.
So we have a motion by Councilman Molnar. Is there a second for that position?
Second that.
Second by McNabb. Discussion.
So I think that you explained it pretty thoroughly in terms of the couple of reasons for the need for this position. knowing this meeting came from our meeting this previous Monday, didn't think that this would be too tremendously long of a meeting because I thought we had pretty well universal support amongst the team here. And so we found throughout the last couple of years that the city administrator's function is a bit overwhelmed. And when John Sant volunteered to join the Infrastructure Advisory Committee, along with some others, it was a nice addition. But we had already been talking prior to that about potentially, reintroducing or reinstating this position when it made the most sense and when we could do it. The challenges that we have, Treasurer Fonte has pointed out several times. He pointed them out in an email earlier today about our purchasing and keeping track of things and keeping the weekly schedule, monthly schedule, like you alluded to in your opening comments. These are things that he's already showed a skill for. We have a need for it. I'm glad that Amy put the time into seeing what we could budget for this. I do feel confident that a good person in this position, and I do think John would be a terrific person for this position, I do think that we will see savings relatively quickly that will pay for itself. I have that confidence, and we track well enough to be able to confirm that, in a 6 months or a year's time. So super supportive of creating this position as you have it outlined in the allotted timeframes that you have. And I think that this will make the opportunity as we interview our next city administrator applicants, I think that we will be able to put more weight on the HR responsibilities, the day-to-day management oversight, and interacting with our other levels of government that we deal with for a little more fluid approach from that position and be able to hold them accountable for a reasonable amount of expectations. So I'm very supportive, and those are my reasons why.
Very well said. Fellow council members, any other discussion before we allow Clerk Tomasic to call roll?
I mean, this is Rich overseeing public works projects, RFPs, and budgets and outcomes. He's done that.
Well, I assume Mr. Sant is listening. Obviously, I had a discussion with him before we mentioned his name publicly, but I think we all feel very strongly on his alignment with this need. So before we get to Clerk Tomasic for a role, just know that my next step and vision would be to work with the city attorney and obviously you, council members, and Finance Director McEwen on the financial side to make sure we start locking down the pathway to fill this position. And so stay tuned. I'll have an update for you first thing next week, assuming that this motion carries. Clerk Tomasic will have you call roll whenever you're ready.
Mulnar.
Yes.
Schumate.
Yes.
Walden.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
McNabb.
Yes.
Motion carried. Fantastic discussion in council. Thank you so much. Second one is pretty short and sweet, but I want to make sure I brought it to a special meeting today because it's got a time element to it. Council, I know we shared via email some information with you, but just to kind of summarize the big picture for you. Finance Director McEwen has gone above and beyond when it comes to health insurance for our employees. I'll give you my perspective and why that perspective is important for the discussion we're having today. In the last policy cycle, Finance Director McEwen, that was my first time encountering this because I had just gotten elected. We had discussed that we seem to be lacking optionality in our health insurance for our employees. We have a lot of historical obligations for which we are financially bound to, and health insurance costs keep rising, and it's not a sustainable curve. So what we did intentionally for this policy cycle was push very hard through many meetings to identify, could we unlock another health insurance option for our employees? Simply put, we found another option. And dream come true, because I was not expecting this, it exceeded my expectations. That additional option not only saves money for the city of Gibraltar, it saves money for the employees. Like a true win-win scenario. So what does that mean for today? You have two options that our employees will now have for their insurance cycle. For our contracts, we have to maintain the option that we had for our employees, meaning we have to abide by the agreement we made at the quality of care and the offering we had previously provided. So that existing option will still be an option for our employees. The second option is an HSA plan. Simply put, that's where it offers savings for the city and for the employees, for those employees that choose that option. Now, there's a lot of nuances there, and we've had employee meetings, and exhaustive discussions to make sure everybody's educated on their personal circumstance and what it means for them. But Amy's now put out a signal to our employees to see where they're leaning, right? Option one, existing, or new option, option two. And it seems, I haven't seen all the data, but it seems that we're getting several employees that are now interested in option two. Now, the only nuance for option two, and what I'm gonna ask a motion of you, and that motion is on the packet that I sent you. I'm asking council to consider that with the HSA plan, the employees have a deductible pool of $3,300 for a family or $1,650 for an individual. I'm asking council to make a motion that we fund that deductible, $3,300 or $1,650, at the beginning of the policy cycle, immediately. Now, it makes no difference for us financially in big picture, right? Because we're gonna be investing that money as a city regardless. It's just a one-time dump versus a calendarized dump.
Yeah, it's like ripping off a Band-Aid.
Right, and so Amy has no concerns financially. Why it's important practically in the interest of our employees is because by doing this one-time dump up front, God forbid an employee that chooses this plan has something severe happen immediately, July 10th, right? 10 days into the policy cycle, they have the assurance that that money is there waiting for them that they could use for that care need. Versus a model where you say, we're gonna split that $3,300 up monthly dump or quarterly dump, for which they'd be exposed financially if something happened immediately in the policy cycle. So I think it's the right thing to do. Now, transparently, what we also looked into was the only risk here for the city is that an employee gets that money and then leaves. And that money, once it's in their HSA, is their money, right? I've consulted with numerous attorneys and healthcare experts. There's no way for us to get that money back if somebody were to leave. Legally speaking, the money is theirs, number one. And number two, there's taxable considerations. This money is exempt from taxes. So to have to try and, for example, prorate an employee who leaves to get that money back legally and tax-wise is not a feasible pathway. So we have to accept the risk, meaning somebody could get $3,300 July 1st in their health savings account, and they could choose to leave the city of Gibraltar, and we would be out of that $2,000 or $2,500 or whatever that prorated amount would be, right? But that's a real risk. I think it's the right thing to do for our people to fund this up front, and I wanted a resolution to memorialize that. This resolution would only be for this policy cycle. We'd obviously have to reevaluate this each time we go through the policy cycle, and that policy cycle starts in July 1st. So I know Rob's got the paper in front of him at the end there, but if council's willing and able, I'd like a council to consider a motion. I can pass this to anybody that needs it, but the motion would be for the city of Gibraltar to fund the deductible, $3,300 for a family, $1,650 for an individual, at the beginning of the policy cycle for the BEP POS HSA Platinum Plan for the upcoming employee health insurance policy cycle, 12 months beginning July 1st, 2025. Right thing to do, financially sound, and would help us lock this option, which would be savings for the city and for the employees.
I will make that motion. Do you need me to repeat it,
If
Katie?
you don't mind, or Katie, I don't know if you have it.
Yeah, for formality's sake, please.
Sure.
Motion for the city of Gibraltar to fund the deductible, $3,300 for family, $1,650 for individual, at the beginning of the policy cycle for the BEP, POS, HSA, Platinum Plan for the upcoming employee health insurance policy cycle, 12 months beginning July 1st, 2025.
We have a motion by Molnar. Is there a second for that motion?
I'll second.
Second by Walden. Council, any discussion? I was trying to give you the kind of background and situation at hand, but you have a lot more information, obviously, in your inboxes.
I mean, I'm pretty familiar with these programs, and I have a question or two, but ultimately, I mean, typically, these HSAs are more cost-effective from both standpoints. The funding of the upfront funding, we have low turnover. The risk is low. Even if we do have turnover, we're required to offer continued benefits for a period of time in a lot of cases, and the COBRA benefits there, that the amount of savings that we would see by funding it probably would be close enough to make that marginal difference.
Well said.
So I understand that. I think that's good. The one question I had is, did I hear correctly that the employees still have the ability to opt into option A if they so desire?
Yeah, exactly. So we preserved the existing option for the sake of contractual agreement. We just unlocked this one, and the data suggests that probably half or less seem to be signaling on wanting to go to option 2.
I will say in my own experience, with similar scenarios, starts out year one where people prefer not to change if they don't have to. And then after a couple of years, they talk amongst each other, and then you start to see the shift over a period of three or 4 years. It becomes pretty much everybody for the most part in the HSA program. So that's what I've seen.
I love it. I think it's a win-win for those that it applies to.
So we're gonna make this contribution, and then they can still contribute to their HSA, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know what the max contribution is?
I'm not sure offhand. I know John O'Connell told us, was it 4,000?
I don't want to misspeak, but
I thought
we
you-
can follow up with that.
Yeah.
You're limited to have 17 grand is in your account is for contributions. I think there's
Okay.
that type of limit for an
I think,
individual.
yeah, Councilman Molnar's spot on, and I think the nice part is once the funds are there, is it rolls over, so it's not like it,
Right.
it goes away. But there will be a threshold, to Rob's point, that you can't exceed.
I don't
Any-
know why the number stuck in my
Before it
head.
becomes taxable income.
Exactly. Any further discussion? All right, Clerk Tomasic will have you call roll.
Schumate,
Yes.
Walden,
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
McNabb,
Yes.
Mulner.
Yes.
Motion carried, and we'll send out, Amy, you and I can work to send out an update to the employees as they're finalizing their preferences to make sure they know that they will have a fully funded deductible if they so choose to pursue option 2.
Yep.
That closes the content that we've set out to accomplish today. So I'd like to now turn it over to public comment. Is there any public comment this evening?
Come on, Wayne.
All right. No public comment, and so I would be looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by McNabb. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Walden. Clerk Tomasic, please call roll whenever you are ready.
Walden,
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
McNabb,
Yes.
Mulner.
Yes.
Schumate.
Yes. Meeting adjourned. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I had the deposition today, and then I got at it, I had to take it to a doggy out, and I was
Have a good weekend.